This one was a bit of a challenge because you already saw my go-to recommendations for all four of these movies, but your four favorites are The Night of the Hunter, Autumn Sonata, Crash, and The Green Ray. The first film that came to mind was The Comfort of Strangers. Like The Night of the Hunter, a potentially foreboding stranger drastically changes the characters' lives. One of the characters has a troubled relationship with his father, which kind of reminds me of the troubled mother-daughter relationship in Autumn Sonata. The film explores some intriguing sexual dynamics like Crash, and the characters are vacationing like the protagonist in The Green Ray. Stoker also has a potentially foreboding stranger enter the characters' lives, but this one is even more comparable to The Night of the Hunter because, like in that movie, the woman is a widow, and like Autumn Sonata, there's an unhealthy mother-daughter relationship and piano playing. Another movie with pianos and strained parent-child relationships is Five Easy Pieces. Speaking of pianos, The Piano is one of the first films that came to mind. Truth be told, I wanted to recommend The Piano Teacher, but you already saw that one. But I think The Piano also has a lot in common with your favorites. In addition to the piano thing, it's also about a mother-daughter relationship like Autumn Sonata. It takes place on and around a beach like The Green Ray. It's about sexual desire like Crash. And there's a shot in this movie that reminds me a lot of a shot in The Night of the Hunter, but I don't want to say which one because it's at the end of this film. The combination of Autumn Sonata and The Green Ray makes me think you'd like Now Voyager, because like Autumn Sonata, it's about a woman who was neglected by her mother, and like The Green Ray, it's about a woman traveling by herself and coming to terms with her anxieties and sadness. Speaking of movies about women traveling alone, I also think you might like Summertime. Shadow of a Doubt, like The Night of the Hunter, is a thriller film noir involving a serial killer, but another film about a serial killer that I think you should check out is Peeping Tom. You mentioned the cinematography in one of your reviews for The Night of the Hunter, so I wanted to recommend another film from the same cinematographer, Shock Corridor. Autumn Sonata features some of the best performances from Ingrid Bergman and Liv Ullmann, so instead of just recommending more movies about complex mother-daughter relationships, I wanted to recommend some movies that similarly showcase their talents. So another Ingrid Bergman film I think you should check out is Gaslight, and another Liv Ullmann film I think you should check out is Scenes from a Marriage. Since you like Crash, another film adaptation of a J.G. Ballard novel that I think you might like is High Rise. I don't want to just list a bunch of Cronenberg films, but out of the ones you didn't have marked as watched, the ones that I think are much more overtly sexual, like Crash, are Dead Ringers, Shivers, and Crimes of the Future. But I also think you might like Shame. You already saw my other favorite films in the James Spader erotic thriller cinematic universe, with the exception of Dream Lover, so I think you should check that out. Since you like The Green Ray, two films from the same director that I also think you'd enjoy are Claire's Knee and La Collectionneuse, but a couple movies that deal with some of the same themes as The Green Ray that I think you might like are Girlfriends and Broken English.